Avatar: The Last Airbender creators quit Netflix live-action adaptation over creative differences. Damn. This is some bad news, bro. This is some bad news. Let's talk about it. Hello guys, don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that little bell right there so that you can get notifications every time I upload a video. Okay? Enjoy. What is up guys? This is Andy Matrix from AndyArtstv, and man, I had to, I was just about to go to sleep and I had to make this video now, right now. So you all know about the live action, Avatar live action that was supposed to be made by Netflix. So recently, just like it looks like the creators, the original creators, because whenever there's a live action project, you always want the original creators to take part of it, right? Well, guess what? Michael Dante DiMartino and Bryan Konietzki, they quit. They exit the project 2 years in. 2 years in. And by the way, this is from The Verge, but I'm also gonna go into Michael Dante DiMartino personal blog to talk about this. Yes, Michael Dante DiMartino has his own personal blog, and we're gonna talk about it. He lays it all out here as to why he quit. So I'm not gonna read this whole article from The Verge, but I'm just gonna read basically the highlights. So it says creators Michael Dante DiMartino and Bryan Konietzki are no longer working on the live action series adaptation for Netflix of Avatar. The creators announced their departure on Wednesday, which was today, August 12th, sparking concerns among fans. DiMartino's lengthy blog post only confirmed those concerns, as the writer-exclusive executive producer noted that whatever version ends up on screen, it will not be what Bryan and I had envisioned or intended to make. Both DiMartino and Konietzki cited creative differences with Netflix over the direction of the project. The news may have come as a shock to Avatar fans, considering that when Netflix announced the project, both Michael Dante DiMartino and Konietzki were involved. These are the two original creators of the animated show, but now they're out. It says when Bryan and I signed on the project 2018, again 2 years, it's been 2 years, says we were hired as executive producers and showrunners, DiMartino wrote. I'm in a joint announcement for the Netflix series. Netflix said that it was committed to honoring our visions for the retelling and to supporting us on creating the series, and we expressed how excited we were for the opportunity to be at the helm. Unfortunately, things did not go as we had hoped. So I don't know why, but I'm thinking that they set them up. I imagine this was some kind of setup, because first Netflix tell them, yes, we're going to stay true to your vision, the creators. We're going to stay true to your visions, and then like a year in, 2 years in, they start changing things up. And this is why Bryan and Konietzki left. Why DiMartino and Konietzki, they left. Because in the beginning, we heard that, like 2 years ago, we heard the live action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender is going to have an all Asian cast, right? Surprise! And I think they're doing that with the live action Dragon Ball too. And then we heard that there were going to be LGBT characters, right? Okay, whatever. And then recently, like a month ago, they said, oh well, Azula is not going to show up on the second season. Azula is going to show up in the first season. What? Already it seems that they're... By the way, I wrote an article about this. You can go to andyartstv.com and my personal blog. Click the link below to find that article. And look, it's just a bad idea. Look, Azula was foreshadowed and was saved for the season 2 of Avatar for a fucking reason, okay? She is one of the most well-written villains I've ever, known. But I bet you that the reason why why Michael Dante DiMartino and Konietzki walked away was because they were changing things to an extent that they just didn't like it. And like a lot of TV shows and movies nowadays, you know, they're adding all this political agenda to it, all these, you know, all this brainwashing, you know, and all these I'm going to say things that are on the political left, for lack of a better, you know, explanation. And they're pushing, they're gonna try and push, you know, all of those things, all these political things onto you in the show. So that means feminism, that means LGBTQ, that means, I don't know, whatever other values they want to program you to follow, right? That's what they're going to do. And then Brian and Mike said, you know what? This is not the vision of the show, and we're out. This is what I imagine would happen, you know? Because Mike and Bryan, they were actually for the LGBTQ stuff. That was okay with them. But then once they started to add other things, and recently, you know, since they said that they were going to make Azula in the season 1, you know, it really made me think that, I guess, since they were changing that part, because the way Azula was introduced in the original, in the animated series, it was perfect, right? But now I'm thinking they're going to fuck it up, and they're going to add some of their feminist ideas onto this. And I'm gonna watch it. I will watch it when it comes out, but I think I'm just gonna watch maybe like from episode 1 to 3 just to see how it is, and if I like it, I'll continue. If not, forget it. But now I'm not gonna read this whole thing from The Verge. I'm gonna go to Michael Dante DiMartino's the open letter that he wrote on August 12, 2020, the day of this video, when they announced this. And I'm gonna read this to you guys. By the way, you guys can find this on Google. And he breaks down as to why Mike and his partner Bryan left the project 2 years into the project. Now, I think it's a lot darker than what he's explaining here, but I think he kind of tries to like sugarcoat a couple of things, just, you know, not really going into details. So let's go into this. So he says, many of you have been asking me for updates about the Avatar live-action Netflix series. I can finally tell you that I'm no longer involved with the project. In June of this year, after 2 years of development work, Brian Konietzki and I, Michael, made a difficult decision to leave the production. When Brian and I signed onto the project 2018, we were hired as executive producers, showrunners. In a joint announcement for the series, Netflix said that it was committed to honoring our vision for the retelling and to supporting us on creating the series. And we expressed how excited we were for the opportunity to be at the helm. Unfortunately, things did not go as we had hoped. Look, things happen. Productions are challenging. Unforeseen events arise. Plans have to change. And when those things have happened at other points during my career, I like to be like an air nomad. I like how he said that. I like to be like an air nomad and adapt. Right? Avoid and evade. Adapt to the situation. An air nomad. And air nomads use intelligence to fight. You know, look at what your opponent is doing. Move around them. Use your skills to defeat your opponent. Right? I do my best, he says. I do my best to go with the flow no matter what obstacles is put in my way. Waterbending. But even an air nomad knows when it's time to cut their losses and move on. I started to reevaluate what is truly important in my life and what I wanted to do with what's left of the project, meaning the original series, which is basically he's just writing comic books of the series, which sell a lot, by the way. They sell really well because Avatar has an incredible following. I took some advice from Uncle Iroh. I looked inward and started Uncle Iroh's advice, of course. I started asking myself the big questions. Who are you? And what do you want, Zuko? Gotta love that shit. I also sought wisdom from Stoic philosophers who were big on the differentiating between what is within our control and what isn't. I realized I couldn't control the creative direction of the series, but I could control how I responded. So, I'm gonna stop right here. So, I mean, if they're the executive producers for this, they should have a lot of say in it. But I think, no. What is it? They were the... Yeah, executive producers. So they had a lot of say in it. But I guess the people who hired them said, oh no, we want to add this to the show. This has to be in the show. This has to be in the show. This has to be in the show. And they said, no, that's not our vision. Because that Hollywood does this all the time. And even Netflix. They said, this is what we want to create. But no, this is what Bryan and Mike want to create. And honestly, obviously, Mike and Bryan's version was going to be better. Of course. But Netflix tried to be all manipulative. But let's just see how things turn out. Where do we lift off? Okay. I realized I couldn't control everything, but I control how I responded. So I chose to leave the project. It was the hardest professional decision I've ever made. And certainly not one that I took lightly, but it was necessary for my happiness and creative integrity. Yes. And who knows, Netflix live action adaptation of Avatar has the potential to be good. Because at the same time, you also have to remember, Netflix wants to put Game of Thrones type budget on this project. A Game of Thrones season cost about like 40 to 50 million, something like that, right? It was like $3 million per episode, something like that, right? So one Netflix season was like one Game of Thrones season was 50 million, maybe 50 million, 60 million. It's right there, getting to the 100 million, but it's a lot. It's a lot of money. It's in the 9 figures. Well, excuse me, it's in the 8 figures, right? So it could turn out to be good. Who knows? It might turn out to be a show many of you end up enjoying, but what I can be certain about is that whatever version ends up on the screen, it will not be what Bryan and I had envisioned or intended to make. I also want to be clear that this doesn't mean the end of the involvement of Avatar universe. These stories and characters are important to me, and renewed interest and excitement in Avatar and Korra has been inspiring to see. Writing this letter has left me with a very heavy heart. I know many of you will be disappointed and frustrated by the news. I get it. I share your disappointment and frustration. I also recognize this creative setback is small compared to the problems we're facing as a society right now. Coronavirus, right? And then he says, thank you. Thankfully, Uncle Iroh offered some wisdom for that too. Sometimes life is like a dark tunnel. You can't always see the light at the end of the tunnel, but if you just keep moving, you will come to a better place. May we all keep moving and come to that better place. Words of wisdom. He's using like his own characters, man. See, you see, he's so passionate about this, and it's a really bummer that he had to leave. But the thing is, this is why a lot of people are just like creating their own studios. Me, I'm a self-publisher, right? I'm a self-publisher. I write novels, and I can tell you right now, I've never published with a big publishing house because they want so much control to keep a lot of the royalties, and they want to tell you like how to change the story and things. This happens all the time. You know, what I'm thinking is that the owners in Netflix, they told them that they want to add some new characters, and Mike and Bryan said no, that's not gonna work, but they wanted to do it anyways. And I mean, this sucks. But again, Netflix is putting a lot of time and energy into this project because they want Avatar: The Last Airbender to be the next Game of Thrones, the Netflix Game of Thrones. You know, that level of entertainment. So I mean, if that's the case, I hope they put in like 100 million per season, for God's sakes, because yeah, like 80 million per season, 100 million per season, because I don't know, this story. Hold on, you guys gotta understand, man. You know, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I'm gonna zoom in. Avatar: The Last Airbender is very precious to a lot of us, man. I mean, I got the freaking box set, the whole thing. So I really, really hope that they don't fuck it up. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the first season, and if I don't like it, I'm not gonna continue. You know, I really hope they don't fuck up the series, because a lot of people are kind of like emotionally attached to this series, and I don't know, guys. Let's just pray for the best. Let's hope that Netflix doesn't mess it up. And hold on, let me just shrink. Well, anyways, that is all that I have to say for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below and tell me what do you think and how do you feel about, you know, what's happening. What, you know, the changes, you know, Mike and Bryan walking out of the project. What do you think? Leave a comment below, tell me, and subscribe to the channel, dudes. Peace out.